Good morning, and let us begin our class with adverbial clause of time. We have already read that an adverb clause is a subordinate clause. It must be attached to a main clause. Adverb clause of time are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions also. So, adverbial clause of time. Adverbial clause of time are complex sentences. Adverbial clauses of time are complex sentences. There is a principal clause and one or more than one subordinate clause in it. There is a principal clause and one or more than one subordinate clause in it. It tells us about when something happens. It tells us about when something happens or when the adverb clause indicates time or when this clause indicates time. It tells us about what happens or when. The adverb clause indicate time. The adverbs can be termed as adverbial clause of time. Listen, adverbial clause of time are complex sentences. There is a principal clause and one or more than one subordinate clauses in it. It tells us about when something happens or when. It tells us about when something happens and when it happens there. The adverb clause indicates time. The adverb can be termed as adverbial clause of time. The subordinate clauses that show time is called time clause. So, adverbial clause of time. In adverbial type clause of time, the subordinate clauses that show time is called time clause. Example, I met Rakesh after he had taken food. I met Rakesh after he had taken food. So, in this sentence, listen, in this sentence, after he had taken food. After he had taken food is a subordinate clause that shows time. That shows time. Listen, I met Rakesh after he had taken food. After he had taken food. From after to food. After he had taken food is a subordinate clause that shows time. So, the subordinate clauses that show time is called time clause. An adverb clause of time can come before or after the main clause. An adverb clause of time can come before or after the main clause, or we can say the position. Position is that an adverb clause of time can come before or after the main clause. When it comes before the main clause, we separate it with a comma. Commas are not necessary when the adverb clause goes after the main clause. Listen, commas are not necessary when the adverb clause goes after the main clause. So, adverbial clause of time. Adverbial clause of time are complex sentences. There is a principal clause and one or more than one subordinate clause. It tells us about when something happens. The adverb clause indicates time. The adverb can be termed as adverbial clause of time. The subordinate clause that shows time is called time clause. And adverb clause of time can come before or after the main clause. When it comes before the main clause, we separate it with a comma. Commas are not necessary when adverb clause goes after the main clause. So let us have a glance over its position. Here we have read the rules and the position, and let us have a quick glance over this position of clauses, time clauses. First, after the main clause. It can be used after the main clause. She phoned me. She phoned me when I was not at home. After the main clause. It can be used after the main clause. She phoned me when I was not at home. Before the main clause. After I had taken food. After I had taken food, comma, I went home. In the middle of the main clause, it can be used in the middle of the main clause also. His father, when he was at Kota, was the manager in Career Point. His father, comma, when he was at Kota, comma, was a manager in Career Point. So, here is the position of time clauses. First, after the main clause, before the main clause, in the middle of the main clause. So, time clause will never be in future tense. Time clause never be in future tense. When a sentence of a future tense is used, listen, when a sentence of a future tense is used as a time clause, it is converted to present form. Listen, time clause will never be in future tense. When a sentence of a future tense is used as a time clause, it is converted to present. Example, first, he will come. Full stop. We will take food. When he comes, we will take food. That we have already read that the time clause will never be in future tense, but when a sentence of future tense is used as a time clause, it is converted to present. Example, he will come. Full stop. We will take food. When he will come, we will take food. So, here are the position of time clauses, and the main thing related to the time clause, that the time clause will never be in future tense. So, next we will discuss about subordinating conjunctions. Conjunctions used in this time clause. Subordinating conjunctions. Conjunctions that are used with time clauses are when, as soon as long as, until, or till, before, after, by the time, while, as, since, no sooner, then, scarcely or hardly, when. So, here are some subordinating conjunctions. When, as soon as long as, until, till, before, after, by the time, while, as, since, no sooner, then, scarcely or hardly, when. So let us move to the first subordinating conjunction. The use first. When. When a small event occurs in the middle of a long-going event. When is used? When a small event occurs in the middle of a long-going event. Example, I was reading a book when someone called me. A small event, someone called me. In the middle of the long-going event, I was reading a book. So, when a small event occurs in the middle of a long-going event, we use when. I was reading a book when someone called me. Next, use when one event is followed by another. When one event is followed by another, when the rain stops, we will go out. When one event is followed by the another one, when the rain stops, we will go out. Use for every time. When my mother comes in my room, I am studying. When we are talking about the sentence that is related to the time, that is every time, then we use when. When my mother comes in my room, I am studying. To refer the past period, or period of life. When I was baby, I was called Gudha. So past for past period, we are talking about the past period of and past period of life. When I was a baby, I was called Gudha. So here are the steps, the rules. When we use this subordinating conjunction in adverbial clause of time. First, when a small event occurs in the middle of a long-going event. Second, when one event is followed by another at every time. To refer to the past period or period of time. So, these are the rules related to the use of when. Our next step, as. Our next step is as. When two events occur simultaneously or the completing of one event, the second event also happens at the same time. Listen. When two events occur simultaneously or the completing of one event, the second event also happens at the same time. Example, as you turn, comma, you will see me. See, two events occurs side by side. And completing of one event, the second event also happens at the same time. So, as you turn, comma, you will see me. Second, while doing one work, thing or task, then other work is done. While doing one work, one task, then other task is also done. My mother slept as she was going downstairs. My mother slept as she was going downstairs. Listen. While doing one work, one task, then other task is done. My mother slept as she was going downstairs. Next, situation related to as plus a situation. That reason you can say because as he was not there, comma, he didn't know anything. So, here are the rules or the steps related to the subordinating conjunction as in the adverbial clause of time. When two events occur simultaneously or the completing of one event, the second event also happens at the same time. While doing one work, then another work is Done. As plus a situation, that is reason, or you can say because. So let us move to next, while. When it is used in the sentence of time. We will use while when while is used in the sentence of time. I met a lot of people while I was on a holiday. I met a lot of people while I was on a holiday. So, use of while, it is used in the sentence of a time. Next is as soon as. When one task is completed and another is started. When one task is completed, come back. Another is started as soon as you can. Come back as soon as you can. So, when one task is completed and another is started, come back as soon as you can. Second sentence, he saw me, he called me. As soon as he saw me, he called me. So, as soon as is used in the adverbial clause of time when one task is completed and another is started. Come back as soon as you can. As soon as he saw me, comma, he called me. Our next step is use of no sooner than. No sooner than. The verb with no sooner is used in the same way as it is used in interrogative sentences. Listen. The verb with no sooner is used in the same way as it is used in interrogative sentences. Helping verb. Helping verb is placed before the subject. Helping verb is placed before the subject. The pattern formation, no sooner plus helping verb plus subject plus main verb, rest of the sentence plus then plus subject plus verb. He saw me, full stop, he called me. No sooner did he see me, then he called me. No sooner did he see me, then he called me. So, no sooner than. The verb with no sooner is used in the same way as it is used in interrogative sentences. Helping verb is placed before the subject. Pattern, no sooner plus helping verb plus subject plus main verb plus object or rest of the sentence plus then plus subject plus verb. So, no sooner did he see me, then he called me. Next is hardly, scarcely or when. Same, we have read rule about no sooner and then. This hardly and scarcely is also used in the same way, no sooner or then. So, hardly or scarcely when. It is also used in the same way, no sooner is used. Pattern, hardly or scarcely plus helping verb plus subject plus main verb, rest of the sentence plus when plus subject plus verb. Hardly or scarcely had he taken food when he began to feel drowsy. Hardly or scarcely had he taken food when he began to feel drowsy. So, hardly or scarcely plus helping verb plus subject plus main verb plus object or rest of the sentence plus when plus subject plus verb. So, hardly or scarcely had he taken food when he began to feel drowsy. Next is before. Use of before. When one of the two tasks end before the other ends. When one of the two tasks ends before the other ends. And its pattern before plus past indefinite plus past perfect. Or past perfect plus before plus past indefinite. Listen, before is used when one of the two tasks ends before the other ends. Pattern before plus past indefinite plus past perfect or past perfect plus before plus past indefinite. Let us see this example. Its example, the patient had died before the doctor came. The patient had died before the doctor came, or before the doctor came, the patient had died. Next, use of after. When the second task is finished after first task is finished in two tasks. When two tasks is going on, and when the second task is finished after first task is finished in this one. So, after plus past perfect plus past indefinite or past indefinite plus after plus past perfect. Listen, when the second task is finished after first task is finished in given two sentences. Pattern after plus past perfect plus past indefinite or past indefinite plus after plus past perfect. The patient had died after the doctor had come, or after the doctor had come, the patient died. After the doctor come, the patient had died. Here. So, here in before, the patient had died before the doctor came. Before the doctor came, the patient had died. So, the patient had died after the doctor had come. After the doctor came, the patient had died. Right, like this also. Since. Use of since. It is used with perfect tense. It is used with perfect tense. I haven't seen her since I left school. I haven't seen her since I left school. So, since is used with perfect tense. I haven't seen her since I left school. Till or until. Express up to that time. Express up to that time. We use either simple present or simple past with until or till. It express till or until express up to that time. We use either simple present or simple past with until or till. I will wait until you finish. I will wait until you finish. So, here we have read some subordinating conjunctions used in time clauses, and the subordinating conjunction that we read are when, as soon as long as, until, till, before, had, after, by the time, while, as, since, no sooner, then, scarcely, hardly, or when. So, here we have read the rules, how to use the adverbial clause of times. And last, our topic related to clauses ends here. And I hope you all have understood this topic and try your best to make sentences of your own. Thanks a lot.